JJ McCarthy is a guy that has a very good coach, a very good offensive mind in O'Connell that's going to sit there. He's going to explain the X's and the O's on the sideline. You saw, especially in the first half, when JJ McCarthy was getting uncomfortable in the pocket, you saw after he sat down that the coach sat with him during breaks. He was talking to him, showing him what he saw on the pad, and it explained a little bit to JJ McCarthy what O'Connell would have saw as a starting quarterback on an NFL team. Remember, O'Connell was an NFL quarterback. He was a backup quarterback, but this is a guy that has experience. He worked under Kyle Shanahan. He's worked on a Sean McVay. He's worked under good coaches, good offensive minds, and O'Connell could go down as the more talented one out of both those guys if he can develop a quarterback. O'Connell never had a chance to develop his own quarterback. He was handed Cousins. He was handed quarterbacks when he took over the job. So now he has a chance to develop one quarterback, which he's never got a chance to do. And I agree with you, Jabba. I think the fact that he has been in these experiences before. He's been in a national title game. He's been in positions where maybe he wasn't playing well or maybe he wasn't seeing the field like he should. He settled down and he realized, hey, listen, I'm a good quarterback. I can make the throws. I got the players on the field and I can use my legs. And you saw that in the fourth quarter. JJ McCarthy, you could see, calm down. And as soon as he threw that touchdown to Justin Jefferson, he really started to feel it and understand what he was seeing on the field. And then everything started to slow down in front of him. And you hear it from quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes said it in his first season. It took 6 games for him to settle down and the game to slow down in front of him. I think JJ McCarthy, I'm not saying it slowed down. It's going to slow down now after the first game. But if you heard what he said after the game, he said that in the fourth quarter, everything started to slow down. I started seeing things that the coach was telling me on the sidelines. I felt more comfortable stepping into the pocket or moving outside of the pocket and making my passes. And again, he had a running game. He had Aaron Jones that could catch the ball in the backfield and make plays with his legs. And that was the difference in the game. I think Aaron Jones didn't have one of the best games that he possibly can have, but Aaron Jones did enough to take the pressure off the young quarterback so he can get settled in and get calmed down and play and make the plays that he needed to. I love Caleb Williams. I love everything about him. I followed him all the way through USC, and well, we all know what Caleb Williams was with Lincoln Riley. This is a guy that has a tremendous amount of talent. His ability to move outside of the pocket, make throws. I compared his talents to Aaron Rodgers. That's the type of player he is. He is sensational to watch. He can do so many things on the football field that would just make you just say, wow, this guy is as good as anybody we've seen at the quarterback position come out of the draft over the last 10 seasons. The problem with Caleb Williams is his mouth. He blabbers things. He does things off the field. He speaks to the media wrong. He goes into the video room, sitting down with players, the quarterback room, as a story came out recently that Caleb Williams couldn't sit in with the quarterbacks because they were attacking him on the way he looked at plays, the way he didn't see the plays. And Ben Johnson is a very particular person offensively. You know the type of coach he is. You saw what he did with the Lions. He transformed the Lions offense for the last 5-6 seasons. So we know what Ben Johnson is. Ben Johnson walking into this Chicago Bears organization, you would have thought this would have changed a little bit. This is not Eberflus. We all know what Eberflus was when he took over this job. Almost 4 seasons over there with Chicago. You wondered if Eberflus was ever going to figure it out as a head coach, and he didn't. They had Justin Fields. He couldn't develop Justin Fields. Then they kept him. Chicago kept Eberflus there for another year. He had a chance to coach Caleb Williams. It didn't work out. So what did Chicago do? Well, Chicago went into the offseason and they said, we got to find the best offensive mind we possibly can. They landed the best offensive coach available in this past offseason. And what did it do and what did it show in game number 1? Well, it showed some interesting information. We saw that Caleb Williams was effective, but only in the first half. In the second half, Caleb Williams started putting himself into bad situations, throwing the ball in bad situations. He sometimes threw the ball away, and he was trying to throw an over-the-shoulder pass, and he was missing wide receivers open in many different parts of the game, especially in the third and fourth quarter. Caleb Williams, to me, if you can get into his mind, he's not the same quarterback. And you could see that. And I love what Chicago did in the offseason, adding Tooney and some of the additions they added to the offensive line. But in the second half, you saw Minnesota's defense. And I'm going to tell you this. Minnesota's defense is one of the best defenses in the league, especially how they blitz and they use their different blitz packages, bring up safeties and corners. You saw that in the fourth quarter. They put a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams and that offense. And the one thing I can say that Ben Johnson is so very good at is running the ball. They couldn't run the ball in this game, no matter who they were handing the ball to. The only person that can run the ball is Caleb Williams. And to me, that is a problem. If your best runner is your quarterback and you're not getting any running from Swift or any of the talented players and playmakers that they have in the backfield, you have a problem. We're asking, and there's a lot of questions, is this the same old Chicago Bears? And is this the Minnesota Viking team that we could believe that is going to challenge the Detroit Lions in the future and the Green Bay Packers in a division that's fully loaded? And I'm telling you, absolutely loaded, because I believe this is the best division in football. Chicago is a team that I think is going to need time. I worry for Chicago because they decided to part ways with Justin Fields. And now that Ben Johnson's here, maybe Ben Johnson would have found the best attack with maybe a Justin Fields. You could see the difference with Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields, how much it's worked in one game. Maybe Ben Johnson, an offensive mind, a valued, scrambling quarterback like Justin Fields, that's the type of quarterback that Ben Johnson can flourish with. I don't know. Caleb Williams is kind of like that, but he's got a better arm. The fact is, Caleb Williams is hard to deal with. I've heard stories. He thinks he's bigger and better than he should be, and he has this ego. And when you go out there over and over and over again, and we've seen it, Russell Wilson's one of them. Just think about it. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl with one of the greatest defenses of all time. And Russell Wilson gets pat on the back that he was the reason why they won the Super Bowl. And when he threw that interception, what was it, a year or 2 years later?
A year later, yep.
And the interception of that ruined the game and it cost him another Super Bowl. Everybody's going to say, well, Russell Wilson, that was his chance to prove himself, and he never got a chance to go over that, and he never could look past that. And I think that really decided eventually that Russell Wilson wasn't the guy anymore, that they had to move on from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is, to me, a very comparable quarterback to Caleb Williams. A guy that wasn't drafted at the number one pick like Caleb Williams, but a guy that right off the bat took the job from Matt Flynn and eventually had a chance to work in with a great coach in Pete Carroll that understands how to win championships because he won a national championship, actually won two of them with USC, eventually struggled because he couldn't get along with his own teammates. I think that could be a problem in Chicago. I don't know if he's going to get along with his teammates, and eventually his teammates are going to give up on him. Ben Johnson's a young coach. Ben Johnson's the one that everybody was speaking so highly about, how he transformed the Detroit Lions offense and completely turned them into a Super Bowl contender. And a lot of people think Ben Johnson's the guy that's going to do that with Chicago. I know me and Aaron picked the Bears to win against Minnesota in week 1. And what happened? They choked in the fourth quarter. This is very Bear-like. We've seen this before. Like the Jets, they can't finish. Minnesota, say whatever you want about them. They're a team that finds a way to finish. Go look. But they also have Justin Jefferson. And Chicago, look at the weapons they have. DJ Moore's a great wide receiver. You got Odunze, who is going to be, hopefully, one of the elite wide receivers and young receivers in the league. They've got weapons. Why weren't they using those checkdowns that Ben Johnson likes to use? Remember the Lions. The Lions had all these running backs, Montgomery and Gibbs, and then he had guys like St. Brown and great tight end play. He has more weapons right now with Chicago than he had with the Lions. Why weren't they using their wide receivers and their tight ends for checkdowns? There was no checkdowns in the fourth quarter, and I think it put Caleb Williams in a position to make mistakes, and he made a lot of them. That's for sure.